the Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Once again, thank you very much for joining the call today. I welcome all of you to the Bhakti Sangha conference call. Let us move to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who all have joined the call this morning?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Nam to you and all the assembled devotees. Guru Maharaj ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. This is Shivani from Ashwini. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण नंद प्रिय नर्मदा माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय प्रीतिदासी from Charlotte. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvindaksh Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvindaksh Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nanda Priya Namada Mataji.
Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kaumadiki Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Very beautiful smile. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nanda Priya Narmada Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Pennsylvania. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Tiffany Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to the assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nanda Priya Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nanda Priya Narmada Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees on the call, and all glories to Guru Maharaj. This is Anita from Sharjah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Narmada Priya Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. All glories to assembled devotee. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nanpriya Narmada Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Is my humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Ghana.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, and to all the assembled devotees here. This is Megha from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Megha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Aditi Devi Dasi from Canada.
Hare Krishna, Aditi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna, Nanda Priya Narmada Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This is Shanti from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Shama Gauri Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all the Guru Maharaj. This is Shushmita from Mysisag.
Hare Krishna, Sushmita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Mataji, shall we start recording, Mataji?
Yes.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hare Krishna, welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhuji on the call to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 18th chapter, 37th sloka. Before handing Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, please accept humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Before handing over the call to Prabhuji, I would like to ask Aditi Mataji to give a brief introduction about Prabhuji. Mataji, please take over.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Prabhupada. His Grace Gauranga Darshan Das, a disciple of His Holiness Radharani Swami, is the Associate Dean of Academics Affairs of the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapith Research Center at Govardhan Eco-Village, Jiva. He is a member of the ISKCON Board of Examinations. He holds a master's degree from the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. He teaches Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya, Charitamrita, and Vaishnava character courses at Jiva and at several places in India. Gauranga Darshan Das has written several books, including Gita Subodhini, Bhagavata Subodhini, Chaitanya Subodhini, Disapproved but Not Disowned, Bhagavata Prabhaha, and Gita, the Jewel Box. He has special fondness for reciting and meditating on spiritual verses and compiled slokas books, namely Gita, Ratnamala, Bhagavata Ratnamala, Chaitanya Ratnamala, and Bhagavata Tattvamala. He also runs a free monthly e-magazine called Bhagavata Padipika and regularly writes educational and devotional articles that also appears in the back of Godhead Magazine International and multiple Indian language editions. He is known for his lucid spiritual talks with captivating visuals and also presentations and give a bird's eye view of an entire book or a section. So far, he has delivered over 4,500 hours of spiritual discourses. He has guided several students in their Shastri study. He also oversees the deity worship at Govardhan Eco-Village. Hare Krishna, over to you, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Aditi Mataji. Thank you so much for the introduction. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving your very valuable time and association to us this morning and enlightening us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Please take over the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Can I see the shloka?
Yes, Prabhuji, we will share.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadeshatarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 18th chapter, 37th shloka. Dravya kriya hetvayaneshu kartrubhir Maya gunirvastu nirikshitatmane Anvikshayangatishayatma buddhivir Nirastamaya kritaye namo namaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The objects of material enjoyment, sound, form, touch, taste and smell, the activities of the senses, the controllers of sensory activities, the demigods, the body, eternal time and egotism are all the creations of your material energy. Those whose intelligence has become fixed by perfect execution of mystic yoga can see that all these elements result from the actions of your external energy. They can also see your transcendental form as super soul in the background of everything. Therefore, I repeatedly offer my obeisances, respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. The objects of material enjoyment, the sensory activities, attachment to sensual pleasure, the body, false egotism, and so on are produced by the Lord's external energy, Maya. The background of all these activities is the living being. The director of the living beings is the super soul. The living being is not the all in all. He is directed by the super soul. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna confirms this. Sarvasya chaham hridaya sannivishto mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. The living entity depends on the super soul for directions. A person advanced in spiritual knowledge or a person expert in the practice of mystic yoga, yama, niyama, asana, and so on, can understand transcendence either as Paramatma or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord is the original cause of all natural events. Therefore, he is described as Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. Behind everything visible to our material eyes is some cause. And one who can see the original cause of all causes, Lord Krishna, can actually see. Krishna, the Satchidananda Vigraha, is the background of everything. As he himself confirms in Bhagavad Gita, Mayadhikshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartati. This material nature is working under my direction. O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Thank you. Hare Krishna. I thank all the devotees who have organized this Bhagavatam session and have been organizing this on a regular basis. So, in this particular canto of Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami describes the cosmology, the geography of the entire universe, material universe. And he says that in the middle planetary system, in the 14 planetary systems is the Bhumandala. And in this Bhumandala, there are 7 oceans and 7 islands. And the middlemost island, which is circular in shape, is Jambudvipa. And the Jambudvipa has 9 tracts of land, technically called Varshas, 9 Varshas. So we are in Bharatavarsha. So our Sukadeva Goswami describes all the details of this structure of the universe. And he says that in these 9 tracts of land, 9 Varshas, the Supreme Lord is worshipped by the devotees in various forms. Different devotees worship the Lord in different forms according to their taste, according to their preference. And there are devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, Bhumata, Lakshmi Devi, and Aryama, many, Hanumanji, Sugriva. So all these great devotees worship the Lord in various forms, in their favorite forms. Like Shiva worships the Lord as Sankarshana in the Ilavrata Varsha. And also Prahlad worships Narasimhadev in the Hari Varsha. And Naradamuni worships Naranarayan Rishi in the Bharata Varsha. Like that, Varahadevi is worshipped by Bhumi Devi, then Hanumanji and Sugriva, they worship Lord Ramachandra in another Varsha. So like that, different Varshas are there, different tracts of land and different devotees and different forms of the Lord. So now in this current section of the second half of the 5th canto, Sukadeva Goswami describes various prayers offered by all these devotees to their favorite deities at different places. So now we are in this 18th chapter. Now there is this shloka. In this shloka, the devotees are offering prayers to the Lord, saying that the Lord is the cause of all causes. And there are so many material elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and there are different senses, there are sense objects, and there are sense devatas who oversee the interactions between senses and sense objects. So all these things came from the Lord. If you remember in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahavishnu breathes out. When he exhales, millions of Brahmandas come out of his bodily pores. And Mahavishnu, when he exhales, then first the universe, take one universe, one Brahmanda, comes out in the form of a small seed, and that gets transformed into Pradhana, and that gets transformed into Mahat Tattva. And Mahat Tattva gives rise to several elements, 23 elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, the sense objects, the 5 gross elements, and the 5 knowledge senses, and the 5 sense objects, and the 5 working senses, then false ego, then mind, then intelligence, and many things are emanated. So all these things come from the Lord's body and amalgamate, and they combine with each other to form the universal fetus. And that Mahavishnu expands himself as Garbhodakasaya Vishnu and enters into each and every universe. Okay. So then from the navel of Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, the universal lotus sprouts, and Brahmaji takes birth, and further creation takes place. So basically, the ingredients for the formation of the universe came from the Lord. So he is the supreme creator. One may say Brahma is the creator. Yes, he is the creator, but he is a secondary creator. Brahma clarifies this to Narada Muni. He says, I am only a secondary creator. I create what has already been created. I recreate what has been created by the Lord. Okay. So the Lord is the primary creator. What the Lord does is Sarga, and what Brahma does is Visarga. And Brahma gets assistance from Manus and Prajapatis and several other personalities to do his creation. So in this way, the Supreme Lord is the supreme creator. Sarva Karana Karanam. So that's what Prabhu also quotes in the current purport, that the Lord guides the wanderings of living beings. So first thing is, he is Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the origin of everything in the universe. Second thing is, he guides the wanderings of living beings. That's what we see in the purport today. Right? So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitah. Aham sarvasya prabhavo means everything is emanating from me. Mattah sarvam pravartate. Everything in the spiritual world and everything in the material world has its origin in Krishna. Right? So he is the source. He is the Sarva Karana Karanam. Right? Iti matva bhajante ma buddha bhava samanvitaha. One who understands this fact and worships the Lord is really intelligent person. Okay. So like that, there are so many shlokas that describe how Krishna is the cause of all causes. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chatushloki also. He says, Aham eva samevagre nanyad sadasatparam. So aham eva asam evagre. Agre means in the beginning of the creation, I alone existed. So Brahma was not there. At that time, the universe itself was not there. Brahma came much later after the universe got manifested. Right? So the Lord existed before the manifestation, before the creation of the universe, before the creation of Brahma and many other devatas. And the Supreme Lord existed in his capacity as Mahavishnu. And of course, all his incarnations are also eternal. So the Lord existed before all the devatas manifested. Okay, so in this way, the Lord is the source of all sources, the cause of all causes, is the origin of everything. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mattaha parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mayi sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. Mattaha parataram nanyat. He is the supreme creator and there is no one superior to Krishna. There is no one superior to Krishna. There is no one equal to Krishna. That Krishna is called Asamordhva. And just like Sutre Madigana Iva, just like a string holds all the beads, pearls together in a necklace. Similarly, it is the Supreme Lord Krishna who is the invisible string behind all the manifestations in this universe. All the planets are staying in their orbits, all the seas are there, oceans are there, mountains are there, sun, moon, so many planets are there, so many devatas are there, so many living beings are there, so many species are there. So who manifested them and who is maintaining them? The Lord is the maintainer also. So the Lord has multiple types of incarnations. One category is called Purushavatas. So they maintain, they manifest the universe. And second category is the Gunavataras, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Purushavatas are Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, Kshirodakasaya Vishnu and Karvakasaya Vishnu. Gunavataras are Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. They are in charge of Sattva-rajas, Tamo gunas and they maintain the universe, they create the universe and they annihilate the universe. So through all these incarnations, the Lord is actually orchestrating all the affairs in this entire universe. Without him, not a blade of grass moves. Without his sanction and without his permission, without his desire, nothing moves. So Krishna is the source of everything. Krishna is the cause of everything. Krishna is the cause of all causes, right? So Gajendra offers this prayer in the 8th canto of Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter, 15th shloka. Gajendra offers this prayer. Namo namaste khilakaranaya nishkaranaya bhutakaranaya sarvagamamnaya maharanavaya namopavargaya parayanaya. Namo namaste akhilakaranaya. Oh Krishna, all causes, akhila karanaya. Karana means cause. Okay. Nishkaranaya. Although you cause everything, you don't have any cause. Nishkaranaya. This is the shloka. Nishkaranaya. You do not have any cause. That's why you are Adbhuta Karanaya. So he causes everything and he himself does not have any cause. So he is Adbhuta Karana, wonderful cause of everything. So Krishna is the wonderful cause of everything in the universe, right? And Sarva Agama Amnaya Maha Aranavaya. Aranava means a big ocean, the great ocean. Here, the ocean of knowledge. Maha Aranavaya means great ocean, and Sarva Agama Amnaya. So Agamas means scriptures, right? So Krishna is like just like so many rivers come and merge into the ocean. Similarly, there are so many Agamas, there are so many Vedas, so many scriptures are there. They should culminate this supreme ocean of Krishna. Krishna is that Maha Aranava in which all Agamas culminate. Means all the Vedas are meant to facilitate our realization of Krishna. By studying all the Vedas, we are supposed to know Krishna. That's what Prabhupada also wrote in the current purport. He quoted the 15th chapter Bhagavad Gita shloka. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritirjnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta kridveda videva chaham. So vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo. By studying all the Vedas, we are supposed to know Krishna. Vedanta Krid, he is the compiler of Vedanta. Yes, this is the shloka. Vedanta Krid. And Veda Videva Chaham, he is the knower of Vedas. So Krishna is the compiler of Vedas, he is the knower of Vedas. By studying all the Vedas, we are supposed to know him. And that's what Gajendra also said. Sarva Agama Amnaya Maharana. So he is the culmination of all scriptures, scriptural knowledge. By studying all the scriptures, we are supposed to know Krishna. So what is the point of studying so many scriptures and becoming a big Pandit without knowing Krishna? Right? If you don't develop devotional service to Krishna, our panditya is of no use, right? Our scholarship is of no use. Scholarship could be a small byproduct of scriptural study, but the end product is devotion to Krishna, love for Krishna ultimately, and knowledge about Krishna. So we need to understand that Krishna is the cause of all causes. Krishna is the source of my maintenance, and he's my supreme protector, supreme master, supreme maintainer, and without him I'm nothing, right? So with this understanding, devotee completes his surrenders to Krishna, and he loves Krishna. And that's the aim of all scriptures, right? And when somebody who developed so much love for Krishna starts interacting with everything that is created by Krishna, he has a spiritual perspective. How the shloka and purport said that began with that Krishna is the source of earth, water, fire, air, ether. Krishna is the source of everything that we see in this universe. So, knowing that Krishna is the source of everything, when a devotee sees all these things, devotee immediately remembers Krishna, right? So, Krishna is the source of everything. Now, devotee drinks water. Devotee immediately understands from Bhagavad Gita. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shishuryayo. So, devotee remembers, oh, I am drinking water. The taste of this water is Krishna. I am seeing the sun. I am getting sunlight. So, the source of sun's light is Krishna. Without Krishna, sun cannot produce light. And without Krishna, or coolness, sun cannot produce heat. So, like that, Krishna is the cause of all causes. So, Krishna is the active principle of everything. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we have a series of shlokas beginning with Rasoham apsu kaunteya. So these shlokas just reveal so nicely that Krishna is the cause of all causes, and nothing exists without Krishna being its active principle, being its essence, being the source of all the characteristics and qualities of these elements. So earth is hard in nature, or it's solid, right? So now if you take a piece of earth or stone and throw it in the water, so it will drown, it will not float, right? So who gave these properties to this earth and water? Krishna gave. If he wants, he can change also. So when the Lord appeared as Ramachandra, he made the stones float on water. He can give properties to these material elements, and he can change properties also according to his leelas, right? So in this way, Krishna is the cause of all causes, and Krishna is Adbhuta Karanaya. He is the wonderful cause of everything, right? Sarva Agama Amnaya Maha Arnavaya, right? He is the ultimate, he is the biggest ocean, which is the culmination of all Vedic paths. So one may follow so many paths, spiritual paths, but without they culminating in love of God, that spiritual path cannot be technically called as spiritual path. And the ultimate supreme spiritual path that surely connects us to Krishna is the process of bhakti yoga. So it is bhakti which connects us to Krishna. Okay. So when a devotee is completely dedicated to Krishna, then the vision of a devotee, the devotee's vision is purely spiritual. It's Krishna consciousness. It's equivalent to Krishna's vision in one sense, right? Like when Krishna sees the living beings here, does he see their material bodies? Does he see their species? Does he see their gender? Does he see their nationality? Does Krishna see their color, complexion, their talents, their ashramas, their varnas? All these are temporary, isn't it? Krishna sees them as his children, his parts and parcels. Okay. So Krishna sees them as his potential devotees. Krishna says, all these are my amshas, right? All these living beings are my amshas. That is Krishna's perspective. Similarly, when we have devotion to Krishna, we also have the same perspective. All these are not my parts and parcels, Krishna's parts and parcels, right? So Krishna thinks that these are my amshas, and devotee also thinks that these are Krishna's amshas. So that is the perspective of the devotee. Okay. And when Krishna sees something material, Krishna's consciousness will not get affected. Krishna creates everything, Krishna maintains everything. Krishna destroys also if he wants, right? I mean, time to time. Maya adhyakshena prakriti hisuyate sacharacharam. Prabhupada quotes that shloka in this purport. Maya adhyakshena prakriti hisuyate sacharacharam. All this prakriti is manifesting moving and non-moving entities by my adhyaksha, under my superintendence, right? So hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartati. So he is the cause of everything. So Krishna sees this prakriti. Krishna sees the activities of the material modes of prakriti. Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, they are all characteristics or gunas of prakriti. So Krishna sees the activities of these modes, but is unaffected. Similarly, when a devotee takes shelter of Krishna, devotee is also unaffected. Daivi hesha namayi mama maya bharatyayam mame vaye prapadyante mayam etam tarantiti. So Daivi hesha gunamayi. So Prakriti is filled with so many gunas, 3 material modes, and it's very difficult to surpass this Maya. But if we take shelter of Krishna, we can easily surpass Maya, right? So we will not be affected by Maya. So Krishna is unaffected by Maya. So devotee is also unaffected by Maya to the degree the devotee is mature in one's devotion. Now you see, there is this shloka, again from the 5th canto only. Maybe after a few days or few weeks you will come to this shloka. This is from the next chapter. Kartasya sarga dishyo nabadhyate nahanvate dehagatopi dihikaihi drashturna drugyasya gunair vidushyate tasmai namo sakta vivikta sakshini. Kartasya sarga dishyo nabadhyate. Maybe someone can display the shloka if you can. 5.19, somewhere, 12th shloka, somewhere you can see. Kartasya sargadishu yo nabadhyati. Although he is karta. Karta means creator. He is the karta means doer. So he is the doer of what? Sargadishu. Sarga means creation. And adi means etc. Creation and so on. So what is followed by creation? Maintenance and dissolution. So he is the doer or the executor of creation, maintenance and destruction. That's why he is called Karta. Kartasya sargadishu. But yo nabadhyate, but he is not bound. Although he does a lot of creation, maintenance and destruction, he is unaffected. For example, we create a building. We construct a nice building. We call an architect and then he makes a nice plan. We call the mason. We call some workers and all of them made a nice building, which may be some we have invested so much of money and energy and emotions and meditation on that building. So a person may create a building. And after creating the building, the person starts maintaining the building, right? So he will keep on maintaining that building by putting some furniture or putting some paint periodically once in a year and cleaning the house every day. So in various ways he maintains. And somehow, say, government comes and says, "Oh, you have constructed the building at a wrong place. This is not your place, right? We have to extend the roads, right? We are cutting the front portion of your building." Okay, the government may say like that. Then he has to destroy the building, maybe half the front part. Okay, so then he starts destroying the building. So what happens during creation, what happens during maintenance, and what happens during destruction is pleasure or pain on a material level. While creating the building, the person is so attached, so excited, so happy. While maintaining the building also is enjoying, oh, such a wonderful facility I have. While destroying the building, he feels pain. He feels very morose. My God, I have invested so much of money and energy into this and it's going, right? So basically when we create and we maintain or we destroy something, our creation, maintenance and destruction affect us. They have a big impact on our emotions. Our creation, maintenance and destruction will have significant impact on our emotions, on our physical health, either positively or negatively, right? But Krishna creates the world, he maintains the world, sometimes he destroys the world also. Does he cry? Oh, I'm destroying the material world. He doesn't cry because Krishna is not attached. So attachment is basically bondage. When we are attached to something, we are bound to it. So the object is not attached. Somebody is attached to phone, for example. So when I am attached to this bone, when I develop some desire to enjoy with this phone, when I desire to get attached to this phone, there is an invisible rope that is binding me to this phone. When somebody creates a building, there is an invisible rope. Visible ropes may be cut easily, but invisible ropes are not cut so easily. The rope is, even the person who is bound also is not, he doesn't recognize that he is bound by a rope. Other people also cannot recognize. And even they recognize, because the bondage is so tight, it's very difficult to break it. So all these attachments create bondage. Our creations and our maintenance work and our destructions, the destruction work that we do, all they create a lot of attachment and bondage in us, either positively or negatively. But either positive or negative, it's all on the material platform. Okay. So the point is that kartasya sarga dishayo na badhyati. Although the Lord creates, maintains and destroys, he is not bound. A conditioned soul is bound by one's activities, but the Lord is not bound by his activities. Kartasya sarga dishayo na badhyati. You can go back to shloka. Let the devotees see the shloka line by line, which is very much relevant to current context also. So, kartasya sargadishu na badhyate. Second line is, na hanyate deha gataupu daihikaihi. So, deha gato, deha means body, form. So, the Lord also appears in so many forms. Conditioned souls also appear in so many forms. Okay, conditioned soul may sometimes become a dog or a cat or a hippopotamus or a crocodile or an elephant or a plant or a human being or a man or a woman or a devata or an ant or moving stool. So we also accept so many forms. The conditioned souls accept so many forms. Dehas, deha means bodies. So deha gatopi dehikaihi. So when we enter a deha, there are some problems that come along with the deha. Right? For example, somebody enters an ant deha, the body of an ant. The body of an ant is very small, hardly some 3-4 mm, or even the big ant is 1 centimeter tall. So somebody is walking on the street and without notice, unintentionally, the person may stamp on the ant and the ant dies, or ant may lose its legs or head or tail or whatever. So when you enter a deha, the deha is affected, right? The daihika, the body, when you enter a body, the bodily difficulties overwhelm the person, right? But the Lord appears in so many forms, takes up so many bodies, right? So what are they? Matsya, Kurma, Varaha. Sometimes the Lord appears as a fish. Sometimes the Lord appears as a boar. Sometimes the Lord appears as a human being. Sometimes the Lord appears as a swan, like a tortoise. Like that, the Lord appears in so many forms, but he is unaffected by the bodies, right? So deha gatopi daihikaihi. When conditioned soul enters the deha, there are difficulties that come upon the conditioned soul because of the deha, but the Lord is unaffected by appearing in some forms. Next, third, drashturna drugyasya gunair vidushyate. Drashta means seeing. Okay, when we see something, for example, somebody sees a ghastly incident. You can close this now. So third line is this. So drashturna drugyasya gunair vidushyate. Drashta means one who sees. When I see something very ghastly, I become a little scared, fearful. I may not want to see that scene anymore, or I may avoid that street. Somebody is in mode of goodness, he cannot see anything. Say in some street there are some wine shops and some meat shops. Somebody who is in mode of goodness may want to avoid that street, although the street comes in his way to his home. he may take another route and then go there. Okay, I will not go into the street. But Google Map adjusts. Okay, you take a left turn and Google Map adjusts right. It shows another path. Okay, I'll avoid this. So some people are addicted to that wine or meat eating. So you may want to go inside that street. So there are attachments, there are aversions. When we see some things, we get affected by that vision. When we see something, either we are attracted to what we see, or we become a little disgusted with what we see, depending on which mode we are influenced with, right? But the Lord is not like that. So the Lord is unaffected. How much He has to see? With our 2 eyes, we will see only this much. Very limited. We have only hardly 100 years, maximum 100 years in human life. In that, half the time we sleep, right? And also, our interactions with people are very minimal, in the sense that we don't interact with all the living beings in all planet. Our world is small, right? So we interact with some 10-12 people on a regular basis, right? Or we may have contacts, even our phone contacts, we may 1,000 contacts. But with all 1,000 people, we may not have regular interaction. And we don't see so much. So our exposure to what's happening in the material world is actually limited. But Krishna's exposure to what's happening in the material world is unlimited, isn't it? He is super soul. He stays right within the hearts of every single living being. Even when we sleep, he doesn't sleep. And he is observing the activities of every single living being. We observe our activities. Sometimes we become unconscious also. And we observe other people's activities to a limited extent. But the Lord is observing everybody's activities, everyone in the entire cosmic manifestation and in billions of Brahmandas. Drashtur. But he is unaffected. I see something and I get affected, positively or negatively. When he sees something, he doesn't get affected at all. So this is how the Lord is transcendental. Kartasya sargadishayo nabadhyate. Although he is the doer of creation, maintenance and destruction, he is not bound by his creations. Okay. And nahanyate dehagatopi deihikaihi. Although he appears in so many forms, the Lord is unaffected by the regular difficulties that come because of entering those forms. Because the Lord's form, whether he appears as a human being or an animal or a bird or a fish or a tortoise, the forms are spiritual in nature. They are not material. So he is unaffected. No material misery for the Lord. Okay. But we get affected. He sees so many things, he is unaffected by that vision. That's why Tasmai Namo Asakta Vivikta Sakshini. So let us offer our obeisances to the unalloyed, pure witness of everything, who gets unaffected. Okay. Similarly, when we take shelter of Krishna, we also become unaffected by what we see, what we do, okay, what we enter in, the forms that we enter in. So, Bharat Maharaj entered the form of a deer. Did he get affected? Yeah, in one sense he is affected, but even the deer body, he is Krishna conscious. In fact, dear Bharat is more spiritually advanced than King Bharat, right? On a spiritual plane, he is going towards Krishna. So, devotees get unaffected. There is another shloka. Eta vishana vishasya prakriti tad gunehi na yujyate sadatmasthair yatha buddhi tadashrayah. This is the divinity of the Supreme Lord. Although he creates everything, he is unaffected by his creation. Prakriti sthopi tad gunehi na yujyate. Prakriti sthopi means although he is in touch with Prakriti, material nature, he is unaffected by it. Gunair nayujyate, he is not influenced by the material modes. Prakriti sthopi tad gunehi nayujyate. Yatha buddhi tadashrayah. Similarly, the devotees who take shelter also get unaffected, although they are in the material world. They are in Prakriti. They are in contact with Prakriti, but they are unaffected by Prakriti, material nature. Because they have taken shelter of Daiva Prakriti, Radharani, right? So what are the qualities of devotees? Krishna says in the middle of Bhagavad Gita. So there are 700 shlokas in Bhagavad Gita, right? In that, what are the middle two shlokas? Shloka number 350 and shloka number 351. Middle two shlokas, okay? So before these two, there are 349. After these two, there are 349. So the middle two shlokas are this 9.13 and 14. In that, Krishna speaks about Radharani. And the process of chanting. Okay, so Krishna says that Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritimashritam bhajanti ananya vanaso gnatva bhutadimavyayam. Mahatmanastu mam partha, great Mahatmas, they Devi Prakriti. Devi Prakriti is Radharani. Okay. And bhajanti ananya manaso, without any deviation in their mind, they worship Krishna by taking shelter of Radharani. So we can effectively worship Krishna by taking shelter of Radharani. Right? So this is how Mahatmas are always under the shelter of the spiritual energy of the Lord and not the material energy. Right? Ananta koti Vishnu loka namra padmajachite himadrija pulo maja viruncha javara prade apara siddhi riddha sattadanguli nakhe kada karishyasi hamam kripa kataksha bhajanam. So Lord Shiva glorifies Radharani like this. Ananta koti Vishnu loka namra padmajachite. So Ananta koti Vaishnavas are under her shelter, right? Himadrija pulo maja virincha javara prade. Himadrija means the daughter of the Himalaya mountain, who is that Parvati Devi, right? Then Sachi Devi, or then Saraswati Devi. So all these people take shelter of Radharani. Himadrija pulo maja virincha javara prade. Apara siddhi riddhi duddha sattadangoli nakhe. So all the great siddhis are made of her lotus feet, right? So devotees are not aspiring for all these siddhis and some mystic perfections, material perfections. Although they see the material world so much, they are unaffected by matter. First point, they don't aspire for any material perfection. That's the nature of devotees. They don't want anything. So that's why even Javali also, there is a beautiful shloka. Tvad bhakta saritam patim chulkavat khadyotavad bhaskaram merum pashyati loshtravat kibaparam bhumi patim bhrityavat chintaratnachayam shilasakalavat kalpadrumam kashthavat samsaram trunarashivat kibaparam deham nijam bharavat. Tad bhakta, this is the nature of devotees. Saritam patim chulukavat. Sarita means rivers. Saritam pati is like ocean. Even if a devotee sees a huge ocean, devotee is not excited with it. Oh, so great, he doesn't consider it. Chulukavat, it's like a drop of water for a devotee. Khadyotavad bhaskaram. Bhaskara, sun, who is glowing in the sky, he is like a firefly. Not that he realizes the position of sun god, but he is not excited with the heat and light produced by sun. Firefly and sun, both are same for me. I am not attracted to the material light. I am attracted to the effulgence of Krishna's transcendental body, Krishna's toenails. The effulgence that comes out of, the moonlight effulgence that comes out of Krishna's toenails will destroy the thick gloom of darkness, of ignorance in our hearts. We know that shloka, right? Sanchintayed bhagavatas charanaravindam vajrankusad saroruhalanchanadyam uttunga rakta vilasan nakha chakravalam jyotsnabhirahatamah hridayandhakaram. The effulgence coming from Krishna's toenails will destroy our ignorance, right? So this is how devotee does not get excited with seeing the big ocean, okay, seeing the sun, okay, the shine of the sun. Merum pashyati loshtravat kimaparam bhumi patim bhartyavat. Merum pashyati, Meru means Meru Parvata, the big Meru mountain is like a loshtravat, like a small pebble for a devotee. He's not excited seeing a big mountain also. Okay, all material elements are not exciting him. Okay, water did not excite him, fire or heat did not excite him, and earth did not excite him. Bhume patim bhrityavat. Bhume pati means the lords of earth, basically kings. They are like servants. Oh, he's in a big king position. he must be very great. No, Krishna is great, right? He's a servant only. He sees even a big king, a big minister also as a bhritya servant. Chintaratna chayam shilasa kalavat kalpadrumam kashtavat. Chintaratna chayam shilasa kalavat. Even if you give him a big bag full of chintamani stones, he considers them shila. Shila means stones. Shilasa kalavat. Kalpadrumam kashtavat. Even if you give him a big desire tree, this is kalpadruma, you go in front of this desire tree, ask anything. But he says, kalpadruma, it is kashta, a piece of wood for me. I am not excited with this desire tree. I have the desire tree of Krishna. Okay. Samsaram trana rashivat kivaparam deham nijam bharavat. Samsaram, this entire samsara material existence is like trana rashivat, is like a pile of dry grasses. Deham nijam bharavat. So, although a devotee may have a beautiful body, but he considers it as a bhara, a big burden to maintain. So, devotees are not attached to body. They may responsibly maintain the body, okay, they maintain their health only for the service of Krishna. They are not excited with a good body or a bad body, diseased body. Vasudeva, a leper, he had a body afflicted with leprosy. He is not attached to the body. After that, Mahaprabhu came and embraced him. We are celebrating Gaur Purnima very soon. So Mahaprabhu is glorified in the Sachi Sutashtakam like this. He is glorified as someone who removes all the pains and difficulties of his devotees. Satatam janata bhavata paharam paramartha parayana lokagatim. Satatam janata bhavata paharam. The Lord can completely vanquish, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can completely vanquish all the bhavatapas, the material miseries of his devotees, right? So Vasudeva leper was relieved from his leprosy, and after that Vasudeva leper, did he get attached to this body? He did not, and he had a slight fear. Maybe I might get attached to this body. He told Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have given me a beautiful body, I will receive your mercy. Maybe I could become proud. So how can I be protected from pride? Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you chant the holy names of Krishna, then you will not be affected by pride, although you have a good body now. Okay. So this is how devotees are unattached to anything in this material world. They are unaffected by any material allurements, right? So devotees are just attached to the holy names of the Lord, just chanting the holy names of the Lord. Just like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told this Vasudeva leper, he just chant the holy names of Krishna. Okay, you will not be affected by pride. So devotees are attached to the holy names, and whatever little shortcomings or anarthas are present in a devotee, some traces of anarthas are present, they are vanquished by chanting the holy names. Other kinds of spiritual practitioners may get excited with yogic perfections and Swargalok, this and that, but the Lord is attached to Krishna, the devotees are attached to Krishna and chanting his holy names. That can give all perfection, right? Such a devotee can see Krishna everywhere. Yoga Shrutya Papatti Nirjanavana Dhyanadhasam Bhavita Swarajyam Pratipadya Nirbhayavami Mukta Bhavantu Dvijaha Asmakam tu kadamba kunja kuhara pronyedindivara Shreni Shyamala Dhama Nama Jushatam Janmastu Lakshavadhi. Yoga Shruti Upapatti Nirjanavana Dhyanatma Sambhavita. Let all these dvijas, twice born people, great brahmanas, let them enter the field of yoga. Next is Shruti. Shruti means Vedic study. Let them become scholars of Vedas. Let them become masters of yoga. Yoga Shrutya Papatti Nirjanavana. Let them enter Nirjanavana, means solitary forests. Dhyanadha Sambhavita. Let them get absorbed in dhyana yoga, meditation. Like 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Dhyana yogi may sit in a solitary place, not too high, not too low, and half closed eyes, and he does dhyana. So let yogis do that. We are not excited with that. Swarajyam pratipadya nirbhayamami mukta bhavantu dvijaha. Let them become muktas. Let them get swarajya. Let them get all kinds of material opulences, or even swargaloka, or even liberation. I am not excited with that. Devotee is not allured by the opulences of heaven. Devotee is not allured by Brahmananda, the position of liberation. Devotee is never allured by yogic siddhis, anima, mahima, laghima, prapti. I am not excited with all this. Okay. Name, fame, prestige. No, I am not interested in this. Okay. So why? Asmakam tu kadamba kunja kuhara pronhiladindivara Shreni Shyamala Dhama Nama Jushatam Janmastu Lakshavadhim. So Asmakam, as far as we are concerned, devotees are concerned, this is our preference. What is that? Kadamba Kunja Kuhara Pronhiladindivara. Krishna has a splendid dark complexion. And Kadamba Kunja Kuhara. Like there's a very beautiful comparison given here. Krishna has this dark complexion and he wears yellow clothes. Good contrast. Bluish body with yellow garments. Even when Krishna enters this Mathura city, he sees that washerman, and he washerman misbehaves with Krishna, and Krishna just separates his neck, separates his head from his body, and he takes all the clothes. So he picks up yellow garments. Balramji picks up blue garments, and other gopas, they pick up the garments that are suitable to their complexions. So Krishna has very good color sense. Krishna has very good taste, dressing taste. So Krishna picks up yellow, shining yellow, yellow garments, right? So Krishna is dark, bluish, and his garments are yellowish, right? So when you see Krishna, you remember something. What is that? There's a nice water reservoir, okay, and just next to that water reservoir there are nice kadamba plants. So many kadamba trees are there, and all these kadamba trees are just showering the yellow kinjalka, yellow dust from the kadamba flowers, or the flowers themselves are falling down. So golden yellow. So between these golden yellow kadamba flowers or flower bearing trees, there are hosts of some blue lotuses blooming nicely. So how is that contrast? Maybe in some decoration, jewel decoration, or some of the Janmashtami decoration, you can use this idea. Kadamba flowers around and blue lotuses in between. So Krishna's darshan is like that. So he appears like a blue lotus in the midst of kadamba flowers, in his blue complexion with yellow dhoti. Shreni Shyamala Dhama Nama Jushatam Janmastu Lakshavadhi. A devotee thinks that I will just meditate on this beautiful form of Krishna, and Janmastu Lakshavadhi. I can Laksha means 1 lakh. Okay, 100,000. I can spend my hundreds and thousands of births chanting the holy name of Krishna. Who has this kind of appearance? Shreni Shyamala Dhama Nama Jushatam Janmastu Lakshavadhi. So devotee's desire is to perpetually chant the holy names of the Lord, discuss about Krishna, not get affected or enticed or attracted or allured or tempted by the so-called pleasures of this material world. That's what Dharmara says. Yanirvirtis tanubhutam tavapada padma dhyanan bhavat jana katha shravanera vasyat sa brahman swamahiman vipinatham abhut tum tvam takasi lilitat tatatam vimanat. So Dharmara says, if happiness has to be attained, it can be attained only in 2 ways. Tavapada padma dhyanat, by meditating on the lotus feet of Krishna, and bhavat jana katha shravanera vasyat, by hearing Krishna katha from the devotees of Krishna. Right? So this is the pleasure, ultimate pleasure. So yes, the shloka and the purport very nicely said that everything emanated from Krishna. So a devotee understands this and understands that Krishna is the cause of all causes, and dedicates one's life to Krishna, not get allured by what emanated from Krishna, but allured with the opportunity to engage everything that has emanated from Krishna in Krishna service, right? So Krishna gave me this body. Let me use all the limbs of my body in Krishna service, okay? And Krishna gave so many objects around me, sense objects and trees and plants and buildings, this and that. Let me utilize all of them to the best of my capacity in Krishna service. So, and Krishna manifested so many things around us. Let me see how everything and everyone is connected to Krishna. So devotee is one who recognizes the connection between everything with Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness, right? So ultimately, all our Vedic study and all our sadhana and austerities that we do, everything should lead to Krishna, lead to Krishna consciousness, lead to love for Krishna. When that end is not achieved, although we become very successful in our material endeavors, it's not so great. Okay, so these are a few thoughts on this shloka. I'll conclude here. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for such a wonderful, wonderful class, Prabhuji. Really, such a beautiful class. You have touched so many references from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and you have even told us about Chaitanya Charitamrita too. So nice, Prabhuji. Yeah, I think I have to go and listen to it again. And Prabhuji, you have said one thing, that we should not get affected with Krishna's everything, right? Everything is related to Krishna. But I have a phobia with lizards, Prabhuji. I get so scared. Even to go to India, sometimes I ask my mom to clean everything so that I can't see even a single lizard. I have a really very bad phobia. I see that, okay, there is Krishna inside that too, but I don't know. I can't appreciate why Krishna created this only one creature so badly. It's such a phobia. I'm really scared. How to get rid of that, Prabhuji?
Sometimes it may be a little difficult to see some living entities and be comfortable and peaceful. Yeah, when I see cats also, I will not go in that direction. I will take some other path. Right? Some people, when they see cockroaches, they become really scared. Right? So yes, while in this body, we may maintain safe distance from other bodies. Okay, if they scare us in some way. So it's not a very. It doesn't put us out of the realm of pure devotional service, but you should not hate those living entities, right? So all the species are created because of the desires of the living beings. It's not Krishna's mistake. Why Krishna created this species? Yeah, because some species has a desire to be like that. Some living being has a desire to has a particular desire for which the living being has to enter that particular species. Okay. So that particular form, that species, that body is very much suitable to fulfill the particular material desires of that person. Or it's like a perfect punishment for that living being for all the karmas that the living being has done in the past lives. So, yeah, we may not go close to certain living beings. Okay, there is Paramatma, there is the Supreme Lord within the heart of a tiger also, but we may not embrace a tiger. We can embrace a cow, but we cannot embrace a tiger, right? That will be the last embrace of our life, probably. So we should have that discrimination. So yeah, dogs are there within the hearts of the Lord is there within the hearts of dogs also, but we may not touch them when we are going for deity worship. Okay. So we need to understand that an elevated person, a self-realized soul, sees the equality of all living beings. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shunichaiva Swapakecha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. So someone who has Vidya, someone who has Vinaya, definitely sees a cow, Brahmana who are in mode of goodness, and an elephant who is in mode of passion, and a a dog and dog eater who are in mode of ignorance, he will see all of them on an equal plane. In the sense that Paramatma is there within everybody's heart. So in that sense, they are all equal. Okay, everybody is soul. In that sense, they are equal. But equal vision does not mean equal treatment. It is appropriate treatment. It is suitable treatment more than equal treatment. A self-realized soul sees cow and elephant same, but he will use gober or elephant dung for some yajna, right? So there is a difference. So we should not lose discrimination in the name of having an equal vision. Okay, so we should have equal vision, but we should also have that discrimination considering the current situation of a living being, but we should not hate anyone. We should not hate any living being. Right? If you are afraid of seeing lizards, okay, we can stay away, stay respectful, keep respectful distance. So that's fine, but we should not hate anyone. Makes sense, Mataji?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Yeah. Anita Mataji, please go ahead with your question, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for that wonderful class with many shlokas from Bhagavad Gita and Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, Prabhuji, my question is like, you told we may stamp the ants or cockroach or anything unknowingly, maybe sometimes knowingly. It's like in here, I'm from Dubai and we have so many cockroaches here, small cockroaches. So every day we have to put the medicine. So in that ways, what karma we gain or what will happen to that cockroaches also? Means what I think is, okay, at least these cockroaches, let them get liberated. I like that, I think, in mind. So that's all. And I get irritated also by seeing that.
So the best option is to keep things clean so that cockroaches don't come, and close doors and have meshes and use mosquito net so that mosquitoes don't affect us. That's the best option. But because of certain reasons,
Prabhuji, we put so much time pesticides also, but I don't know. It's the it's a gift of Dubai, I think. So we get
some places are like that. Sanatan Goswami also
like
found.
How we get ants in India, like that. Here we have cockroaches.
Yeah, yes, no, that's fine. We can do the needful to survive. Okay, I will not give any specific reply to this. We can do the needful. So Sanatan Goswami was little bothered by mosquitoes. He wants to relocate, but somehow the mosquitoes are removed by the Lord's arrangement so that he can stay there. Okay, but till that arrangement is done for us, we can do the needful in the current circumstances by not causing minimal harm to other living beings, but we need to protect ourselves also. Okay, Mataji.
Okay, so what what karma do we get, Prabhuji? Because it's just ultimately for our cleanliness only we are doing. So is there any karma we get, or how?
That's intention. It's the intention that matters.
Okay.
Ultimately, the motivation behind an activity is what Krishna says more than the activity itself.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Sureshwar Shyam Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Nice shower of thematic compilation of Krishna's greatness and beauty and his creation. So, Prabhuji, one basic question, Prabhu, again, like anything that we do, right, Prabhu? Like always we are affected, Prabhu. Like anything we do, we are always, at least myself, I'm affected. Like, what is the example, Prabhu? Like when we take shelter of the Lord, like why we don't get affected, Prabhu? Like how it can be justified?
Like we will be unaffected to the degree we take shelter of the Lord. Okay. We will be unaffected by material allurements and material temptations and material tribulations to the degree we take shelter of the Lord. But there is another aspect of it. When a person is in a particular situation, in a particular body, there is some nature, swabhava. Okay, drishtaihi swabhava janitair vapushishcha doshair. There is one slogan in Upadeshamrita also about swabhava. So some people could get little emotional. Some people may be little thick-skinned, they are okay. Some people are balanced, okay. They are not too indifferent, they are not too attached, they are little balanced. So, but all of them could be devotees also. As devotees, some devotee could be little more on the emotional side, some devotees more on the logical side. But that's like personality types, their particular svabhavas. Okay, but what Krishna says is how much devotion a devotee has. So when we say affected, what kind of effect is that? Is it that when we do some things and when we are getting affected, are we getting positively influenced by them or negatively influenced by them, or we are going away from Krishna or coming closer to Krishna? So that we need to check. So yeah, does it make sense? Did I answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Probably one other question. We are, like you said multiple times, the Lord is not affected by creation, destruction, but He's always feeling affection for the conditioned souls, right, Prabhu?
Yes.
How do I understand that?
He's unaffected by material creation. He's unattracted by material allurements. However, being the Supreme Father, Aham Bija Pratah Pitah, being the Supreme Master and Supreme Source of all living beings, the Lord is definitely compassionate and kind and concerned about the well-being of living his amshas, right? So in that sense, from that perspective, he's affected very much. In fact, why destruction happens at the end of one creation phase is the Lord gets frustrated. Right? I have given these conditioned souls another opportunity to take my shelter and to come to me. But these people have not utilized that opportunity. The Lord becomes a little angry and frustrated. So in his form as Sankarshna, he emanates fire and destroys the entire universe. And the universe gets merged back into Mahavishnu's body. Again, the Lord becomes compassionate. Again, another creation happens. Okay. So, yes, the Lord is affected in the sense that he is spiritually affected. He is affected because he has affection for us. So, on a spiritual level, the Lord has compassion on the souls, his amshas. But on a material level, he is unaffected. Okay, something is being created from material. He is not excited with it. Material world is getting destroyed. He is not affected by it. He is not affected because the material world got destroyed. He is affected because the conditioned soul did not take advantage of this period of creation maintenance to perfect his life, to become self-realized. He is affected from that perspective. So we could get spiritually affected. We can have spiritual emotions, okay, but we should not be materially affected. It takes some time. Makes sense, Prabhu? Sureshwar, Prabhu?
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Do you have still some more time, Prabhuji? There's one more.
Maybe one question I can take.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you. Gaurangi Mataji, please go ahead with your question, Mataji.
Hi, Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, my question is this concept of taking shelter of Krishna so that we are not affected by material nature. I wonder if you could explain what, in a practical way, this taking shelter looks like. Whether it's, if we are being distressed by this situation or that situation. We talked about phobias before. There's so many various ways in which we feel affected. There's temptations that there. We don't want to be affected by temptations. So in all these variety of ways of getting affected by material nature, what does it look like to take shelter of Krishna so as to not be affected, practically speaking?
At the sadhaka level, taking shelter of Krishna is basically performing various elements of sadhana as prescribed by the acharyas. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, all that. So that itself, the following the process of bhakti as prescribed by the scriptures and acharyas is in itself the process of taking shelter of the Lord. Now, another perspective is that when somebody gets a difficulty, the devotee becomes more dependent on the Lord, then he goes and takes shelter of the Lord. Right? That is specifically seen as taking shelter. For example, Kunti Maharani prays, Vipada hasantuta hashashva tatra tatra jagat guru bhavata darshanam yasyata punar bhava darshanam. So let the calamities come again and again. Because these calamities are giving me opportunity to take your shelter again and again, take your darshan again and again. And by taking your darshan, we'll go back to you. So that's how Kunti says. However, although Kunti Maharani out of her deep humility said that difficulties are giving me the opportunity and the inspiration to take your shelter. In the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, Kunti Maharani speaks to Akrura, and through her speech, it is quite revealed that she takes shelter at every moment, not only in difficulties. Okay, so her prayer is a message to all of us, is giving some indication to all of us that we take shelter of the Lord when we are in difficulty, and we may conveniently forget the Lord when we are comfortable. We are not so much in difficulty. Okay, but Kunti Maharani, although she prays like that, let the calamities come so that I can remember you and take your darshan. That does not mean she remembers Krishna and takes shelter of Krishna only in difficulty. She's always taking shelter of Krishna. She's always Krishna conscious. She's always remembering Krishna. And that's true with everybody. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata. They had so many daughters, 8 daughters. They were born, and soon after their birth, they died also. They left their bodies. So they were in distress. So they took shelter of the Lord. They worshipped Lord Govinda. And they prayed, may we have a surviving child. Then they got this Vishwarupa, an expansion of Balaramji. So this Vishwarupa is a beautiful boy who survived. He did not die. So out of their great pleasure, they worshipped Lord Govinda. So whether in distress or in happiness, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata, they both were taking shelter of the Lord and worshipping the Lord. Okay. So one may take shelter of the Lord out of happiness, one may take shelter of the Lord out of distress. But what makes more sense to a conditioned soul is taking shelter is needed only when there is distress. Why should I take shelter when there is no distress? Right? Taking shelter of an umbrella is needed only when there is rain. When there is no rain, you don't need umbrella. So one may think like that. But basically, devotee is one who takes shelter of the Lord in all circumstances by being Krishna conscious, by remembering Krishna, by chanting his holy names. Okay, and especially in Kali Yuga, a conditioned soul who is entrapped in the material world should always take shelter of Krishna. Okay, by chanting the holy names, by remembering Krishna, by following the whole process of Bhakti Yoga. Does it make sense, Mataji? Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for such a beautiful answer. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving your very valuable time and association to us this morning. And we look forward for your association again in the future. Devotees, let's pay our obeisances to Prabhuji and all the devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Praise Gauranga Prabhuji ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.